Did you have a question, Pavel, now that I've started recording?
I hope to catch you before you started. Just one word of advice. I'm using speaker and a microphone over here. If you start hearing echo, just let me know. I'll put on the headphones.
Absolutely. So this is session 1 of Night's Black Agents, a quarterly series that's going to run January through March. This is kind of a follow-up to a series that we did in December where we're kind of play testing these rules. This is Night's Black Agents with some mechanical changes, particularly consolidation to the investigative skills. It uses a push system closer to Yellow King and a couple of the new versions that Pelgrane has done. Probably the biggest change is in terms of the health and stability, or essentially effectively hit points, and the way that we're handling general skill resolution, which is when you go to do something, we find what's the appropriate skill, what pool it's from, you spend points, up to 3, you roll, and then we use a PbtA style resolution. 10 plus, full success. 7 to 8 is cost, complication, things like that. We're going to be doing a lot of that on the fly. We do have some set maneuvers, some set moves, particularly for the combat section. And of course, the investigative section, we don't roll at all. But I'll talk about that, and we'll talk about refreshes and all of that kind of thing in just a minute. This is a game of spies versus vampires. All of our agents have been burned somehow by their agency and have fallen back to try and find out what's going on. What's the conspiracy? What's happening? How can they undercut that? How deep does it go? And so the purpose of our play is to find an entry point, investigate that, and see if we can follow that up the chain to undo things. And we'll start with our players knowing a few things and establish facts from last time that are sort of more background information than anything else. What we're going to be doing is playing with a set of layered safety tools. All of my players here are well familiar with that. We have lines and veils in the character keeper there. And just to go through, feel free to add anything you want. But right now, as it stands at this moment on this living document, we have hard lines on harm to children, homophobia, racism, sexual assault, and of course, virus, plagues, and pandemics. We have veils, meaning that we'll fade to black for dental horror, because of course it's a vampire game, but we won't dwell too much on that. Harm to animals, sexual content, and torture. We also have a column for ask first, meaning that if there's something that you're like, okay, I might be cool with that, but I want to check in and make sure before we go to it, you can hit the ask first on that. The second tool, of course, we have is the X card. I'll remind everybody that if something's passed you by a first couple of times and then later on it is kind of bugging you, it is legit to X card it later on. And finally, the open door policy, meaning that if you need to step away for whatever reason, you should feel free to do that. Maybe a message to give us a sense of where if you're coming back or not, be good. Oh, by the way, in case anybody's watching this, my name is Lowell. Pronouns he, him. And this session is part of the Gauntlet Calendar, which is an online gaming club. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. As of the time of recording, we're about 8 weeks out from our free gaming weekend at the end of February called the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. You can come and check that out at that website. And we do that to try and introduce people to story games, to online gaming. We usually have a few dozen games on the calendar, and it's free. And it runs Thursday through Sunday across several different time zones. So that is all in there. So let's go ahead and roll into talking with Will about his character. Will, we kind of had off camera here. You're doing your character building. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to get clarified before we move too much further?
No, I think well, I think I'm good.
Okay,
Harry,
all right.
I was wondering if perhaps it could be an acquaintance of Henrietta Michaels being of another MI6 asset at some point, and I was thinking I'd picked up the vampirology out of having stumbled across this on my own before joining this group, you know,
Do you
if
think
that
it
works
was,
fiction-wise.
do you think it was like you broke into a place that had this, or did you find old files, or did you find an ancient tome? How do you think you fell into this?
Oh, I think I got very suspicious of my handler, and he kept meeting with strange people and different things, and I followed them, and then that stumbled into another group of, you know, people who had already done a bunch of research on wannabe vampire hunters, as it were, who
Mhm.
didn't quite. I picked up their pieces and then went on the run.
And we're assuming literal pieces as well as figurative there.
Oh yes, and of course, yes.
So
But luckily, there's a chemical you can put onto paper that gets rid of blood, but not ink.
so tell us about your character.
Well, Harry McAllister is British. He did a tour in the Middle East before becoming an MI6 asset, thanks to his, you know, deniable asset at arm's length, not really a full agent, but
Mhm.
someone who's run by, you know, doing jobs in the criminal underworld to build up cover and rep, and, you know, planting the odd bug, breaking in, stealing things, planting things. He's a guy who he's a bit of a rounder as far as Gumshoe goes, but his major focus is on getting in and out without being seen or lifting things off people. But in a tight corner, he's got his old military training to go off as well.
You imagine you had a specialty area that you worked in. Did you work very covertly in the UK, or did you work in Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, or were you all over the place, you think?
I think I was mostly within Europe,
Okay.
maybe moving from west to east with relative, you know, no, but mostly in the East Europe, I think, doing covert ops against GRU and Russian assets in the
Okay.
area.
I see we've got criminology, culture, military science, vampirology, voltage detector, flirting. Flirting is also used for sort of gentle persuasion, a kind of gentle, positive reassurance.
Yeah, I figured it was the gift of the gab is flirting.
Yeah,
You know, like bullshitting your way through
yeah.
stuff.
It may be that I eventually rename that because has perhaps too many specific connotations.
Yeah, that looking at it though, I think I am going to change culture out for negotiation because I think I like negotiation would also be like you're caught, but then you persuade them as to why they shouldn't turn you in, right? And you
Yeah.
should, yeah. So I will trade culture for negotiation.
Can I
Data
make a
recovery.
plea to keep flirting?
Yeah.
It
I'm
hasn't let me
definitely
down
keeping.
yet.
I'm definitely keeping flirting. I wanted to be able to flirt with. Maybe not anyone could do it quite to the same great degree as Henrietta Michaels, of course. But
Notice surveillance survival. It looks like you've done pretty even across the pools there.
yeah, because it seemed as though everybody's is filling like the major niches
Mhm.
of the roles, so it felt like I would drop in as the kind of the glue between all of them. You know,
Yeah,
I can
makes
talk. I
sense.
can back up Carl with violence and talk our way out of things, and I can provide muscle to the other two as needed.
A good rounded set of specialist skills. That's good. Let me say a few things about mechanical wise. If we get into investigative scene, how familiar are you with Gumshoe? Have you played Gumshoe before?
I've read a lot of Gumshoe. I've
Okay.
listened to Gumshoe. I've only played a play-by-post of Esoterists myself.
Okay. So much like standard Gumshoe, we go into a scene. If you have the skills, basic information, you can ask for a spend from something, or I can offer, and you can make a spend to get additional information.
And in this sense, the pushes are the spends,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a flirting spend, you'll spend from the interpersonal.
Right, and that's with investigation, and general is adding points to your 2d6, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And what you'll find is you will get very tight on the general at a certain point. But the way that we simulate Gumshoe's tactical fact-finding benefit is that if an investigative skill, you can use it to set up an action, then you spend a push from the investigative pool, and that will usually give you 3 points towards like a free-floating pool for that. And in fact, someone has added the unallocated short-term follow-up space at the bottom, so you can kind of keep track of that. Usually get 3 points, and usually people drop those 3 points immediately, but sometimes you want to save a point or two of this generated pool. And that's the other thing is doing particular actions to set up other people and things can generate those pools. If you want to assist someone on a general skill, you can also spend from your pool just 1 for 1 to assist them.
So for example, that might be like I've used surveillance to set up somebody else's infiltration to give them a 3-point boost to that, to say like, this is the guard patrol, that's the entrances, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
You'll notice the 3 conditions, injured, shaken, and unfocused. That can be a consequence of a failure. Also, you can opt to mark one of those conditions to negate damage from a hit. Injured is the sort of physical fallout, and shaken and unfocused are the sort of 2 emotional, mental ones based on stress. They give disadvantage to their particular area until you get those cleared. So you've got 3 talents, and have you thought about what you want? You want to just choose those on the fly?
Yeah, I already had a look at some to keep in mind, but I did think I would do them on the fly depending on what sticky situation we end up in. I almost certainly will end up going with In the Nick of Time, because that has been ever since I first read Gumshoe and saw In the Nick of Time, I've been like, oh, that's such a good idea. Like,
yeah. The other thing is the mechanic wise that I've added, and I just put this in today. I've modified the contacts list. The first contact that you have, this is going to be a key contact that I want each of you to add in. This is a person you know that you're tight with personally and professionally. Maybe they are just an emotional rock for you. This is the person that you can fall back to. In play, that contact, you can, once permission, check to get an immediate in-between session refresh. Alternately, you can immediately, once you have a chance to kind of talk to them and interact with them, you can clear any mental conditions that you have. Essentially, the shaken and unfocused, you can clear one or both of those. Once you have used them during a mission, they are on the table for the GM to respond. Just telling you that.
when you say use them during a mission, do you mean in that refresh sense, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Essentially, when you go to talk to them and utilize them to essentially to bring them on board, make contact with them, then they become on table. And we will see. I may up the refresh benefit from them, but I'll have everybody kind of come up with those people. The rest of your contacts you can fill in as normal. Those come out of your networking when you need to draw on particular resources in an area.
Can I just clarify, when you say in between session refreshes, do you mean in between like this week and next week, or do you mean sort of mid session, like during what we play?
Yeah, in between sessions, you will get a very modest refresh. Essentially, that you'll get. Let me look at the actions resolutions again. In between, you can refresh 1 point from an investigation pool and up to 3 points from general pools.
Okay.
You can opt to skip one of those to refresh a talent instead.
I see. Yeah.
So pretty modest. So I think that gives us, how old, Harry?
I mean, probably like 30 something, maybe.
Okay, so still fairly young
Yeah,
as far as
yeah.
this?
I think he did like he literally did. You know, he went straight into the military. It wasn't the life for him. Was a bit of a wrong 'un, and was put to use by some of the friends that he made over there.
Awesome. All right. I'm with that in mind, I'm going to have our other characters introduce themselves, and then we'll kind of roll into some things about what has gone on in between the past and now, and we'll figure that out. So Carl, let me have you introduce yourself.
Yeah, just ignore please my last message in chat. It was totally my miscalculation. Hi, hey, I'm Pavel. I'm playing Karl Pot, which is short for potato, a very common Polish surname. Karl is from Grom Polish forces. They are like military commandos. He came up on all of the vampire conspiracy by learning that he and his team were being used not to the betterment of the country, but for some other purposes. His team turned on him, but he managed to walk away and disappear in the shadows. He's bald with like a big beard, which looks very funny when he puts on a mask, because he's like a huge chin over there to hide this beard. He's kind of like a gun-ho. If anyone shoots before Karl, it's very rare. Karl usually shoots first. But yeah, he's a very good team worker. And yeah, I changed my talents a little bit. I
Okay.
left one spot open. I have a talent because I noticed that I'm usually fighting a lot, so I
Mhm.
picked a talent to gain or take the edge from the enemy, and a cool talent to refresh other talent. We'll see how it will be used.
Okay.
And polite reminder for myself: I'm very bad at investigation games, so feel free to nudge me into the investigative. Hey, Carl, can you, I don't know, do that, and I'll be happy to oblige. Especially if I get lost in who is our ally, who is our enemy. So yeah.
Awesome. And then Paul, let me have you introduce your character.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing is Peter Skellen, also he, him. Peter Skellen is a GCHQ or ex-GCHQ analyst. In the last sort of arc we played, he pretty much occupies the man in the van tech specialist kind of guy, but he has some sniper skills that he can bring to the more combat side of the game. Peter sort of noticed the vampire conspiracy when he was working for GCHQ, doing some research into pandemics and the use of blood. And that's how he got burned and how he ended up outside of the GCHQ bubble and involved with Carl, Henrietta, and now Harry.
Excellent. And then Henry.
My name is Alan, he, him, and I'm playing Henrietta Michaels, former MI6 cuckoo, i.e. she pretends to be other people. I'm channeling Orphan Black here because I have a ready-made range of personalities to put up behind me. Henry is the talker. Henry is good on interpersonal, but seems to get herself into trouble. She took a hammering in the last mission, and I'm glad to see that we've all recovered.
Yeah, it's been a few months. So we've moved the timeline down. And again, we're in 2022 at this point. We've just kind of slightly moved forward in time. We're going to say that we're in late fall, early winter of 2022. And you have spent the last few months drawing out information and putting that to use. In particular, we have on our sort of NPCs that are kind of still in play from the last game. There is a vampire hunter out there named Rastami. She is a deep asset, but because she's out there and still active, I kept her in the NPC list just to that we know that she's there. Sam Exes, in case you go to Bucharest again, this was a fixer who was able to help and had a lot of pull, so I left him on that. And then the person who you rescued from being the thrall of a vampire, Marta Ozjert, a former MI6 operative, a former Renfield for a vampire named, at least the code name you've gotten is Ruthven. She has been put into a secure place, but she's probably the one who has fed you some of the pieces. And I imagine over the last couple of months, you have been through the hints and bits and suggestions, hitting some of Ruthven's network, following up on what Ozjert could remember. And you've probably done a couple of successful hits on those things. But we take up kind of where we're going to start is a little bit of a lull after some of that success. So where do you think Henry has, this is, we're talking about the contacts that you have, where do you think Henry has some connection? Like, who does she fall back to? Who does she rely on?
I'm thinking perhaps Michelle, former French. I always get these initials wrong. DGSE or GCSE? I can never quite remember. One of the French intelligence agencies, based in Paris, but easily available in a variety of European cities.
And how did you come to have a tighter relationship with them?
I stung him for MI6. He got disciplined for being stung, and I got disciplined for allowing my professional and personal life to overlap more than I should have done. And we laugh about it whenever we meet.
And Peter, who do you rely on? Who do you fall back to?
I think I fall back on somebody called Tamar. She's a hacker, and I only know her by the code name Chapstick on an online hackers forum.
And how did it come that the relationship has been more meaningful or deeper for you than just a contact?
I helped Tamar do some cyber infiltration. She was in a real sticky spot, both personally and politically, in the Middle East. So I helped her extract herself from that situation, and she sort of feels that she owes me somewhat.
Excellent. And Carl?
So far, I have no idea for my key contact.
Sure. Do you want to just put a pin in that, and we'll come back to it?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe not like in 10 minutes, but maybe like next session, we'll see.
Sure, absolutely. And what about for the newly christened Harry Rook?
Yeah. I wanted to have a last name that you could call me by, and McAllister's a bit of a mouthful. What city are we in?
Where we're actually going to start with the group moving to a location.
Okay.
Probably so far we've established you've moved across Europe has been primary places in our center of our work.
And you were in Bucharest, right?
Yeah.
Well, I will go with With Kasha, my on and off romantic friend from the criminal underworld of Budapest, who is a bit of a jet setting, not jet setting, but like femme fatale type, like the honeypot in a lot of Stings.
Mhm.
And while she's occupying the mark, I'm breaking into their hotel room and stripping it of everything that's of use.
And Bucharest may have been kind of a nexus of things, assuming that you fell out of MI6 a little bit later. The whole situation of what went down with the Romanians in Bucharest and the Lupatori, one of the Romanian mafia and things like that, that may have been the long way to how you got fitted up with the group.
Oh yeah, I think Harry was definitely on his own. Rook was on his own and didn't make any waves. Certainly didn't go after them. And he's just been feeling around in the darkness until he came across his old friend Henry, who is much better at this than Kasha is.
Yes.
But Kasha's got her own charms.
And there's one loose end from the last game that I just want to clarify where they're at. You would have gone to check on Sinclair, and you would have found a room that had been bombed out. On the camera, you would have seen Sinclair fighting with himself, arguing with himself, clearly arguing with his master, until his master clearly commanded him to stand up, which triggered the explosion and killed him and destroyed Carl's friend's apartment. So we take up, and we're going to say that you four are currently lodged in Amsterdam, kind of checking on some leads, closing some things out. You have a safe house there that you've been sitting on for a few days, and a couple of things happen pretty close to one another. One of them is that Henry, you will get a notice when you go out. You have your credit card for one of your identities, and you go to use it, and it is locked down. And you're surprised because this was a fairly secure one. And when you contact the company, just kind of casually from an easily public phone, they will say, we can't say anything, but we've certainly sent, because of your change of address you requested, we've sent the new information to that address. A new card has been issued there.
And I think that it's only logical to say, well, can I check that address then?
Can you give us the password that you used for the change?
I can give you, I can never remember the password. I can give you the answer to my my question. The security fallback question.
Um,
And presumably you have my telephone number online, so you could ring me and prove that it's me.
Let me check, and I'll call you back at your new registered phone number and confirm with you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And you don't get a call, but they're probably calling and checking to confirm the address. The other thing that happens about that time is you get a call on one of your standard phones, Carl, from a contact that you know in Paris.
Mhm.
Give me a name, man or woman.
A woman, a French name, Laurice.
Laurice calls you up and says, "Hey, why didn't you tell me you were coming to town?"
Carl speaks in like kind of like a good French, but any native can say that that he's not French. And he says, "Well, if I were, I would let you know, but I'm not, because we are in Amsterdam." Yes.
Yeah, she says, "Okay, I do some passport control, and your passport popped up 2 days ago in Paris."
You mean my, or you mean my Novak passport?
The cover one that you go under, that I know, popped up 2 days ago, and I may have you flagged just in case that this is how these things work. So I saw that, I waited, and you hadn't called, so I thought I would check in and see if there was something going down.
Well, that's a little bit surprising, but no, just to let you know, not me. I wouldn't like just appear out of nowhere.
Yes, you would.
Sometimes, but well, that's a bit stressful not to know that. But well, Novak is a popular name, so but thanks for letting me know.
All right. Well, I'll if anything else pops up, I'll give you a heads up. You might want to burn that passport if somebody else is using it.
Yeah, let me know. If I blow up something and become the most wanted in Paris, to know that I should not appear there.
Fair enough. And I think that Henry, that's when you're kind of coming back, a little bothered by this thing, and you can see that Carl is a little thrown off after a conversation on the phone.
And my first port of call, if we're in the same place, that's great. Otherwise, I'm contacting Peter.
Yeah, you're all in the same safe house at this moment. I assume you have separate lodgings, but this is where you all kind of meet up. Peter, when if Henry is looking for you, when the camera comes to you, what do we see?
I think you see Peter, sat on a laptop with a multi-monitor set up. And he's also got to have a set of those that sort of head glasses with the lights at the side, and there's a soldering iron there.
Absolutely.
He's mucking around with something, monitoring various sort of computer feeds. And he sort of flips up those magnifying sort of top of the specs and goes, "Wow, Henrietta, what's the matter with you?"
I think someone's screwing with my. I think someone's got into one of my credit card cover identities.
You should always use two-factor authentication. You know what they say.
Yeah, and I know that's true, Peter. But do you not think it's a little bit of a coincidence that we did pretty well a month or two ago, and I've been running multiple covers for a very long time. This has never happened.
Well,
what's the chance of someone stumbling across me?
Slim indeed. So it does look suspicious. But do you want me to try and backtrace the credit card company?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I want you to see if you can work out who's been fucking with me.
So I think he'll swivel to his laptop, and you hear the classic clattering of keys and various sort of scripts being run on the screen as I attempt to hunt down what has happened.
So I'll give you some basic, and then if you want to push a little bit further to a spend, we can push it. It looks like that someone probably hacked, maybe some social engineering, had that credit card canceled, and had the a new credit card issued to a Paris address.
Okay.
Do you want to do a data recovery spend?
Yeah, I'd like to do a data recovery spend to see if I can track a bit further down the rabbit hole.
You can get the exact address, and the credit card is on and has been active and has been used. Looks like rental car, several cash withdrawals, a purchase of a number of things that when you dig down, looks like they purchased a bunch of SIM cards. And when you kind of check it, that credit card is used to pay for the rental on the apartment that the new address is set to.
Any evidence of the sex of the user? Have they bought any clothes? You know, that would be identifiable as male or female?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say male.
Male. Okay.
Yeah.
So
maybe
we're looking for a male in,
yeah.
a male in Paris.
So that should be pretty easy.
That narrows it down. That's half the population of Paris. That's you know, I've knocked thousands off already.
So Henry, let's come to you. You've overheard maybe some of this. I don't know if you want to talk to Carl and if you want to follow up on something. When the camera does come to show us you, what does your corner of this safe house look like?
Very, very carefully arranged.
Oh, see, actually, here we go. I said Harry, and now we're going to get the Harry Henry
Yeah,
thing.
I'm wondering whether I should change it from. I'll change it from Harry. I'll change it to James Rook.
Yeah.
Why not?
This is the problem with me having my Hoosier drawl drop off. I will muddle through that mumble mouth.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. This is a character that I played in one of Alan's Night Stark Operators games, and he was called Harry Blake, but I felt like I was being too derivative there. So anyways, yes.
So Mr. Rook.
Yes. I think Harry's is it's just a chair and like a couple of like cabinets that are filled with breaking and entering tools, and then there's a few magazines, and at the moment he's got his feet up on them with a beer popped. We're in Amsterdam, so he's got some nice Belgian beer, Delirium maybe, and he's sat back watching the footy on an iPad that's folded in front of him.
And what's your take on seeing Carl looking a little disturbed, and then there's the sort of conspiratorial talk between Henry and Peter?
I think when Carl comes back and he goes, "You're right, mate. Someone stole your life too."
Apparently, I'm currently in Paris. A friend who works border control let me know that I just arrived in Paris and I didn't contact her. So
yeah, you find out who
someone's tracked us.
Well, maybe we're all blown. What's he called? I can't remember Paul's character's name. Peter, yes. Peter's just been looking into something for Henry. I wonder if it's all. We know they're out there, but maybe they're coming after us.
Well, I wonder what is the proper way. Do we want to strike back, or do we want to just get a new cover ID and move on?
Oh no, I mean we either hide out here forever or we take them down, right? And every time they come at us is a chance for us to follow it back to them. But you said you had a contact at the your mate over in Paris told you about it, right? On the security, what was she? Work for the airline or security?
Last time we spent some time together, She was working probably the she was working the border control on the airport in Paris. You know, the huge one. I could never remember its name. And Carl just like takes the phone and just like messages back, realizing that he should have asked for more information. Please send details of my arrival. I'm really curious about it. And
We
I'm
ask
going to get Loris to get me to send me the info, like flight number from where or something, whatever she can.
I guess we have to assume that they were male and they closely enough to your cover identity to match anything on record for it, right? But knowing the flights, it lets us track down a credit card or whatever, right? Like,
are you suggesting someone has such a magnificent beard like mine?
No, I'm not, but I'm suggesting that maybe they said that you'd shaved.
That's an abomination. We are going to and Carl just like smiles. It's very rare for him to show some humor, but when he does, he like laughs openly. Yeah, now I'm on it. Yeah, let's get this guy shaving the beard. No.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything any role to make at this point.
Yeah. Do I have to spend something to get the information?
No, I think she'll write you back. Short flight from Barcelona to Paris 2 days ago, and gives you the flight number.
Cool. Yeah, I take it to Peter and I ask. I'm just curious. Any chance that that Henry's credit card bought a ticket to this for this flight? And I like give you the flight number that was used with my cover identity. Maybe the someone who stole Henry's identity also used this flight. Oh no, it's probably hard to check it. No, I don't know.
Peter?
Well, yeah, I definitely think there's some correlation. So, maybe we could try and, I could try and get the video footage possibly from the boarding gate or customs or something like that. Look when that passport was flagged so we could try and get a face.
Absolutely. I think that's a surveillance spend just because that is a little more complicated. We'll see you essentially breaking into the systems that they have for border control at the de Gaulle. I believe that's the big airport, right?
It is.
And following through, just got a quick scan of the passport, and it's a little unusual. You don't necessarily, this is inter-Europe travel, nothing big, but you get a scan, definitely not Carl's face on the passport. The scan that you have isn't good enough to like make a judgment on the quality of the forgery, but you can see it's definitely not what you call it. It's definitely not anyone trying to like look like Carl.
Okay, so yeah, it's a picture, newly attached to the. Okay, well that's something, and we've now got. Is there anything from the sort of CCTV footage as he's going through maybe it's an automatic gate, the one that takes the picture? Have we got a picture of the actual person?
Yeah, I can give you the picture. Let me.
I presume it does look like the person in the photo. That's how he walks straight through customs and border control.
Yep. And I'm actually going to give you a picture here. Let me image. Let me grab that real quick. All right, I've put that on the NPCs tab just below Marta.
Seen it? That definitely does not look like Carl in any way, shape, or form.
No. So yeah, this is the info that you can scoop off of that, and we'll assume that you can get those photos to everyone's phones.
Yeah, I
as
take
they're
it nobody
needed.
recognizes this person. It's not contact of anybody's.
Nope.
Okay, well, I think we're Paris bound, folks. We need to track this guy down and squeeze him.
All right,
Did
well,
you
you
say
got
we
Aloe vera
were-
plant.
Did you say we were in Paris?
Amsterdam.
No, we're in
Oh,
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. Well, we've got the credit. So far, we've got what he looks like. Right, it doesn't really help us in Paris, but we do have that credit card. If we can trace the credit card.
You have the address that the credit card was shipped to, so you do have a location in Paris.
Oh, that was to Paris as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a more obvious thing for an ambush was to send us an address and hoping we would appear. So let's go there.
Aye, well, we follow their bait and we use it to throw our own in there.
So I think a quick high-speed train straight into Gare du Nord.
We see that montage. We get that shot, some stock footage there, and I think we'll take our first commercial break there, and then bring us up to Paris. So let's take to the hour. So that's about 10, and then we'll continue on.
So how was life after Brexit? And it's different.
Well, the most significant difference that I've noticed so far is we cannot seem to find either uncooked beetroot or chili pickle.
You would have thought uncooked beetroot is one of the things we could grow locally, wouldn't you?
Well,
really?
That's what I would have thought, but I'm told that supplies are low.
I can't find any avocados at M&S either. You know, just to really get the metropolitan elite vibe going.
Absolutely, you know, I mean, and frankly, if Marks and Sparks can't find you an avocado, they are not to be had.
Yeah.
They'll have hit teams out there making sure they don't go anywhere else.
I personally, Pavel, feel free. I feel British again. You know, not European. I was never European. No.
Yeah, and you know, and now we've got the best COVID virus.
World beating.
World beating. World beating.
Well, actually, no. The South African one is miles better. Actually,
well, yes,
we've got the best. We've got the best in Europe. If we were in Europe, but we're not.
Are you missing us, Pavel? Is it obvious that we've gone?
Gone? What? I guess I think there's a joke inside, but I'm not getting it. I was
just curious. I was just curious whether you know, anyone in your neck of the woods was saying, "Gosh, we're already missing Britain."
Not yet, but I'm just happy your internet still works, so we can play.
Yeah. Well, my personal opinion is that every single one of you is waking up in the morning and just looking out the window forlornly and being like, oh, "We've lost them. Come on, will they come back to us? We miss them so much with their reasonable conversations." And
enough of this.
Yes,
this Eurocentric.
Let's go kill vampires and spies in Europe instead.
Yeah.
So we get the typical touristy montage of Paris, of the different places, buildings, sites, just to give us the flavor that we are definitely in Paris. Just to confirm that, we probably see you driving through a protest. At some point, the traffic is diverted a couple of blocks away from you. And you will arrive in...
One important question. Can we drive under Eiffel Tower? That's very important.
At least past it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
don't know why protest. I prefer Eiffel Tower, but yeah, now you're in Paris.
We will see you probably surveyed the area. This is, and I'm going to pause right now. One of the reasons I've avoided France before is because my pronunciation is going to be terrible. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time in case Caleb listens to this at some point. This is a suburb, one of those block suburbs outside of Paris city center. We're about 9 kilometers away from city center. Saint-Denis, kind of run down, kind of dilapidated area here. Some people out on the street, but midday, kind of maybe a dusting of snow around. You know, this used to be an industrial area, and now it's just kind of probably railroads, so rail traffic and shipping traffic around in the outskirts. This building that you've kind of gone past a couple of times, checked, you've seen no movement on the building. Like there's nobody out on rooftops doing surveillance watch. There's nobody on the street sitting on it. And you haven't seen people come and go from the building. So how do you want to approach this? let's start with our black bagger to ask what that is, or our man in the van.
What do you reckon, Peter? I reckon I can get in. I can get in up through the fire escape and no problem. But
I think you're the man, Harriet. I'm thinking that scene from that Eastern European film where they like bug everything in the room. So yeah, if you can get in there and bug his light switch, bug his phone, you know, his ring doorbell if he's got one.
Yes.
And then I'll feed it all into the van, and we can sit here and watch him eat his cornflakes or his croissant.
Yeah. So we'll stake it out, right, for see if there's anybody in that kind of, because we probably can work out the room number and the name from outside the building. We'll stake it out, and if it appears empty, I'll make a run at it.
Yeah.
Seen someone moving in and out of the building, or we
have not have seen nobody so far.
So is it like an abandoned block where people used to live, or does it seem like an abandoned warehouse?
No, it's definitely an apartment building. You're guessing that it may be unused. It may be, if you can kind of pull it up on things and find out that it is has some issues to it in terms of public safety, but the owner's apparently still willing to rent out. It's the kind of place that you would grab if you were looking for a quick safe house.
Awesome.
Semi derelict, like old apartment building.
Yeah.
Nobody's got some cladding problems.
Yeah.
I've got that right out my window right now this second.
Out of curiosity, Henry, if you went through all of the trouble of acquiring someone else's, in fact, two people's identities, and then set up here, I'm really curious. Maybe we just like walk up and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm Novak, and you are whatever your card identity say." They must have some secure watch over here or something. They wouldn't lure us down here without. So we might as well just walk to the door and knock, I guess.
Personally, I'd like to know what's in there before we knock on the front door. So I think using Jimmy to jimmy the windows and get in from the outside. I think we need to have somebody on the inside as backup in case something goes pear-shaped. Because there may be somebody in there now, for all we know. So if Jimmy goes in there needs to be some backup car, significant look.
Awesome. You want me on the roof, on the rope, just to come in through the window?
No, I think you're better off in the corridor.
Abandoned building, I will stick out like a sore thumb, but I will do it. Yeah.
Because Jimmy's going to use the fire escape. So I think if he goes in that way, then the idea of you then coming in through the window, I think I'd prefer to have you come behind anybody who's still in there.
Sure. I will.
Why don't we de-escalate a bit and maybe internet repairmen? You can carry quite a lot of kit there. You can just walk to the corridor. You can tap on the door. If they don't answer, then you can bust in. If they do answer, you're there to repair the internet.
I got it.
I mean, if you want to do a who dares win, one swings through the window, one kicks his door in. But
yeah, why don't we give it a nudge before we give it a kick? Yeah, good call, Peter. We could have been going in there with MP5s blazing if we hadn't stepped back a bit there. Tell you what, I would like a bit of backup around, but I'll do a run. They've got Henry's card and they've got Carl's passport. They might be made, but don't know me. So maybe I go up there, like you say, internet repairman. I can probably black my way through that, or Uber delivery driver or something. See what we can get hold of, and I'll go through.
I don't mind accompanying. If you want two people that they definitely don't know anything about, that we think they don't know anything about, or do it yourself. I'm more than happy to sit in the van with a sniper scope on the window.
That wouldn't be a bad plan, I don't think.
I-
Snipe up,
I-
set up on the
I-
window.
I'm quite keen to sit in the van. I never get to sit in the van.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So we'll
and me-
pull out
you and me, Pete, then.
our orange internet. I believe that is a well-known French internet provider, Orange. And yeah, we'll go up the block to the relevant door with our nice large bag of electronic gump.
Peter, you got that Wi-Fi sniffer?
Yes.
You can, yeah. So you know, even if we can't get in, maybe you can get in on the. You can get the crack.
Yeah,
the
we should be
Wi-Fi.
able to at least bug his internet traffic.
Yeah, as long as we only need to be within Wi-Fi distance of that. But yeah.
So the two of you will go grab up the vests, the badge, and so on. This is the kind of thing you only need to roll like cover or disguise if you get confronted. You'll go up to the building. Front door is open. Walk in, got that sort of entry hall, that real smell of a building that's been sitting, unmanaged for a while. There's a freight elevator off one way and a smaller passenger elevator off the other. There's a slight office off to the side that's kind of standing open where a doorman or a landlord or someone might stay in there, but it's empty. Kind of, maybe there are a couple other people that live here, but not in evidence right now. And you can walk up a set of stairs and get yourself up to that second floor, not hearing any noise besides sort of the creaking and the traffic sounds outside as the two of you make your way up to that second floor, and you can get to that hall. And Peter, you said you wanted to like hit the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So I'd be quite interested to see if there's any internet traffic as we speak. That might give away that there is somebody in there. But yeah, we'll definitely try and grab his Wi-Fi from outside. That should allow us to get in.
We could also see what devices are connected to that Wi-Fi.
So to start with, you'll pull that up, and you've got pretty sophisticated scanners. This is within your wheelhouse. Don't think we need to do a spend on it. There's no Wi-Fi in the building. Don't pick up a hotspot. Like one building over, you can pick up the network for that, where it's just a series of numbers. They haven't really reset things there.
It's definitely one bar, so it's a good distance away.
Yeah. But yeah, you're not picking up any kind of Wi-Fi activity from that apartment.
Well, I think tap the door, don't you, James?
Yeah. Come up, rap on the door, wait, listen out very intently to see if there's any noise inside.
Gentle rap or a more serious rap?
A gentle rap.
Okay, you get that.
I was thinking more Vanilla Ice than anything like sort of Ice Cube. On the rapometer.
And the rapometer. He performed at the New Year's thing for Trump.
Which I take it you mean ice, Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Not
sad.
no response.
I think we're good here, James.
All right. Pop out the kit. Gonna quietly crack the door and slip it open.
So I think this is going to be infiltration with advantage.
Okay.
Mainly what we're looking at is unpleasant coincidences or leaving evidence behind if you haven't been here, kind of thing.
Okay.
How much do you want to spend?
And I shouldn't have looked over the gumshoe rules last night, because all I can think of now is like trying to beat 10 or 15 or whatever, right? But it's a PbtA style, isn't it? So it's
you've got advantage, which is equal to about a plus 2.5, And you
Is that
can,
where you roll with 3d6 and you take the best two?
yep.
Okay. You know what? Then I will spend just the one.
Okay.
So that's a
And
+1, right?
yep.
Okay. Oof. That is only a 9.
Okay. So you're able to go in. It's pretty quiet. There's maybe a little bit of physical evidence, maybe a little bit left behind as you go in, but nothing major. I'm sure that's not going to be an issue in the future. But you will go in and you get this whiff of chemical, and you make a quiet entry, and quick look. It's a couple of rooms here, definitely set up to look like a temporary hideout, and you can see that there's materials around in here. You can see there's documents, boxes, other things around, but you don't see any people here.
No people.
That's good.
I look for any devices, surveillance equipment, anything like that.
Absolutely. So we'll start with you. You move in, do a quick survey. You're looking for equipment, anything like that. You won't see anything electronic there on that. There are pictures, documents, things like that. But you will see that there's over here, it looks like maybe some kind of lab. And over here, a cache of weapons, including a sniper rifle and pistols. Same model sniper rifle as Peter uses, and some pistols and some other general equipment there. Peter, what are you doing?
Documents. I'd like to start scanning or taking pictures of any free sitting documents.
Sure.
Pieces of paper, that sort of thing.
Let me give you a rundown on what the general gist of the documents are, and then if you want to further investigate, you can do that. Looks like there's a building plan, hand-drawn. You'll see there's a street map with a course marked out on it. There's some papers, receipts in the trash can, what looks like a printed out surveillance photo, passports in there, and that's the basics that you'll see here at a quick scan. You'll recognize your names on credit card receipt.
Mine and
your cover identity, Carl's, and Henry's.
Presumably, as Peter is scanning these, they're popping up on the multiple windows cropping up on the screen in the van.
Sure.
And you said that there was a route. I want to try and identify that route using Google Maps.
Absolutely. That doesn't seem like too hard to do. You can. Do you have survival, military science, anything like that with it?
As if.
Okay.
So
I'll give you the basics on what the actual map is, and then we can follow up from that. It looks like it's a street plan of the Latin Quarter of Paris, and you can see that there is a marker from one of the Sorbonne campuses, the UPMC campus. There's a line that goes from that over to the nearby Pernetti Quarter. This line is done in red, and there's an X about midway on it.
What I am curious about is, were I to spend from high society or streetwise or bureaucracy, would I be able to work out if there is anything official or even unofficial following that route in the next matter of days?
Yeah, since we're going to be confirming a negative, I'm not going to make you make a spend. You'll check. There's no scheduled protests. There's no scheduled official ceremonies. Nothing that when you kind of quickly run through that comes up on that.
Okay.
Does the X marked on the map, does that correspond to the building plan?
No, it
Uh,
doesn't. But
he said,
we'll come back to the building plan. Let me check in with Carl first, and then let me come back to James and Peter. Carl, what are you doing? How are you looking at these materials, or what are you doing on the street? What do you think?
So just to confirm that I understood correctly, the route is from a university campus to
Mhm.
what?
It looks like a more of a residential area, residential quarter of Paris. It's maybe a 15-20 minute walk between the two.
Okay. Just looking at Henry because I have all of those skills. You want me to take a look at this?
Yeah, absolutely. No, if you can get anything from this map, or I have to say, what Henry is thinking is that this is a setup, because there's all this stuff here: guns, a plan, a route, a cross. That's a hit from where I'm looking at it, and yet the details here are us.
And just to give flavor, Carl just looks completely out of place in the van. He doesn't know where to sit, what to do. So if he sees a map, yes, that's something I know.
You have military science.
Yes, I do.
You kind of take a look at this. You look at the map. That cross point on the path is definitely a quiet side street. It has several routes of escape. It's the kind of place that if you wanted to snatch someone or hit someone, that's the place that you would choose. Plenty of ways out of there. The other thing is, I think you will notice as you kind of check, there's some stuff written on the map, and it looks like today's date.
Yeah. Is there like a time, or is it like the date? Or is it like in 10 minutes? Is there like exact time or not?
No, just the date.
Yeah, looks like someone is leading us to be there today. See this date? It's happening today. Whatever would go down at this cross, some ambush or something.
We know where.
Today.
We know who. No, we know where and we know when. We just don't know who.
Well, we know when today. We don't know when in detail. Look,
is there no sort of target information here at all?
So let me come to you, Peter, and then we'll check in with James. The only thing that looks like some specific is there's something that looks, it's not like a surveillance photo. When you look at it, you realize that it's like a printout of a photo, you're guessing from a website, and it's a dark-haired woman there, and that's sort of your what, it's the only like identifiable person in all of this. I'm going to put that picture also in the thing. Let me grab that. And it's kind of a professional looking picture.
Reverse picture search.
Let me have
sorry.
Peter, I know. Peter, what do you want to do with that?
Well, I will feed it to the rest of them. We're still we haven't realised this building plan. I've got a good background in history, which includes architecture. Is it a famous building at all, or a known building?
I think you can go through it, and if you want to make a spend off of,
History?
yeah, because that includes the
I think culture is architecture.
Yeah, either
I have culture as well.
make a spend off of that.
I have.
It looks to you as you kind of go over this that this is a office building, but the thing that strikes you as you kind of look at the floor plans notes, it actually looks like an office building with a laboratory, like a secure laboratory, like the way the doors are set up, the way things are put together. You'll note as you kind of look through the plans, as you get to one of the floors, you'll see that there's a marked X on one of what is probably a storage room for the building.
But this building isn't on that plan, the route.
Yeah, no, it doesn't it, like you doing a quick run through, looking at the buildings along that route, and it doesn't seem to. You check the campus of the Sorbonne to see if it corresponds to any buildings on campus. Doesn't do that. You kind of take another look at the plans. There's some like backways marked out, so clearly something is planned for that. James, what are you doing with the wealth of material you have here?
I was wondering, is there anything that might identify where this material has come from? The weapons, are they of a particular make, supply? Any any signs of trade of telltale tradecraft? Like, is this the work of a Russians, or I don't know, my 6 asset or something like that?
I think a quick tradecraft look will confirm for you that these are quick pickups based on known signatures, sniper rifle, particular pistols. There's a submachine gun that you've seen Carl use, and quick grab and dumps. This is very clearly a setup.
Yes, and I would like to take a look at that lab.
Sure. Do you have a chemistry?
No, is there any other skill that might work instead of chemistry?
Let's see. I'd let you make an explosives roll.
Yeah, I'll make an explosive roll.
Okay.
I will burn. I won't burn one of that. I might need those.
Okay.
That lab, the picture will have come through to the van.
Yes.
Where a certain former Grom operative does have chemistry.
How would
So-
that work?
Here if you need me.
Yeah.
So, Carl, do you want to make a spend to assist?
Of course. I assume I'm looking at the monitor and shouting to the comms. Yeah, turn right. Yeah, I need to see the label on the bottles. Yeah, I
So,
will do a spend from chemistry.
Make a technical spend, and that gives you three points to spend on this roll, as or to save for a bit, James.
Okay, cool. So I just put that in my unallocated short-term follow-up, right?
Yeah.
And then I've got 3, and that's like whatever Carl could tell from the chemical substances, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. I like it. I will spend, I'll spend 2 of those.
Okay.
So I can get the full.
Absolutely.
Oof, it's a good job I did, isn't it?
What'd you get?
7.
So this is going to take a little bit to go through, kind of check it because it's kind of scattered around. It looks like it's acetone peroxide, which is also known as a TATP. This is a very unstable, highly dangerous explosive, often used by terrorists. The explosive isn't here. This is just the remnants.
Shit.
Looks like it's big enough for a pretty significant explosion.
Listen, I don't think we can ask around here too much longer.
Good time to get out, really, I think.
Well, hang on. if we leave it there and we're too late, then this has got our fingerprints all over it, so to speak. Is there any way we can get this place cleaned up?
Certainly, you could spend some time doing evidence dispersal. If
I was thinking of calling on my network to see if we can get a cleaner in here.
Sure. Let's have you make a network roll.
Okay, I'll spend, let me think. I'd like to spend one from Streetwise because this is a criminal undertaking.
Sure.
I'd like to spend one from there.
So you're not hiring an agency cleaner. You're getting a
Oh no, I want a
where's the
professional.
bodies? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like to spend from Streetwise, make a call to Jean-Paul, who is a, inverted commas, cleaner in Paris. And that gives me 3 to play with that I would then like to make a network roll with that 3 in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems perfect.
That is 7 plus 3 is 10.
You call up Jean-Paul. He says, "Oh," and I say Henry, but whatever cover name you're under. He says, "I was wondering when you were going to call me."
Why were you expecting me, Jean-Paul?
Well, I had the police by here yesterday asking me, as we worked together before, asking me about your if you were around. I don't know. They're very much fishing, but they didn't know. But I assumed that you pulled something and they were on your tail.
And I assume, Jean-Paul, that you were as discreet as I've come to expect.
100%. Now, how can I assist you?
Well, I have an address for you. I just need it. I need all the contents bagged up, removed, and I think dumped, because I don't think we're going to get anything else out of it than we've got already, colleagues.
How wet is the site?
Oh, it is entirely dry.
Oh,
in the sense of I assume he means blood.
yes, blood, bodies. He's asking about.
Yeah, no, this is simply equipment, chemicals.
You don't need to go any further. You say it's dry. I will be there. I can be there in about 30, 40 minutes.
Okay, that's all I need to know, Jean-Paul. Always good.
Is it locked?
To
is
talk.
it secured?
It is. You will. Is it reasonable for me to ask him to pick it? Because I don't really want to leave it open.
Yeah. No. Okay. He says. Okay. I just mean it's basic. There's no pass keys or electronics or anything.
No. No. It's just a standard apartment door.
All right. Lock it up, and I'll be there in about 30 minutes.
Thanks, Jean-Paul. Always good to talk. And then wait for Peter and Jimmy to get down into the van, and we make a fairly swift exit towards that cross, I think.
Carl, I assume you're driving?
Yes.
Then why don't you make a driving roll? It's going to kind of determine my timeline on things here.
Sure. I guess the timeline for a big explosion is counting down, so I'm going to wager 2 on this.
Okay.
Oof! By the skin of the teeth.
So again, that traffic, you're trying not to be obvious because the police are asking about at least some of you, but you take those turns, move away from the site, a couple of diversions, and you will drive to that area by the Sorbonne, and come down that block to the area with the X, and you can see that there are a bunch of people on the street, like clearly there you see some tourists talking and other things, and people are kind of standing. They've got their cameras out, and as you arrive.
Did was it this team or was it all of us? Like because I joined the team. Were my details in part of that as well?
No.
No. I think as we pull up, I look around and go, I guess one of us should go and scope it out. I look at all three of you. Oh, I guess it's me then, isn't it? Christ.
James, you have such a unremarkable face. Nobody will remember you. So
That hurts me, Cal.
I'm not really keen for us to all stay in the van. I'll be honest.
No, you should
Disperse.
yeah, maybe pull off around the corner and get some other angles on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go speak to some of the tourists, the locals, find out, play the naive bystander.
And just to be clear, before we leave the van,
Mhm.
I want everyone to have a very clear mental picture of where on this street that cross is. Yeah.
I think we can even put it on like a.
do we know where it is? Can we
Yeah.
see it from?
Yeah, you can see that spot. There's nobody there. People are clearly standing kind of at the ends of the block. But James, you're going to move up.
Yeah, the people who were, you said were looking
Yeah.
at their phones and doing stuff. I'm going to just be like, oh, pourquoi? Just, kind of be like hey, what's everyone hanging around for? Like this sounds, what's happening?
So this small block, side street, quiet. You can see the exits. There's some nice cars parked on the street there. There you see a couple of people kind of talking. And move up, and what you'll hear is someone was shot. We've called the police. Someone was shot, and then the shooter, something happened to them,
What? Something happened to them?
and they're very like they don't quite understand, and they'll kind of point to the Japanese tourists, like maybe they saw, but the others didn't.
Oh, well, I will, I'll go over to the Japanese tourists and slip into his fluent Japanese.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You can make a culture spend or a flirting or questioning spend.
I think flirting, because the way I'm doing it is sort of like, cool story, like, oh, this is so good. Maybe share like whatever their viral video is that they're gonna show me or whatever, right? Like,
and they say we were here, and then we heard the shot, and we looked and we saw this woman, and she was running down the block, and then someone went across the dash of that the hood of that car, and there was a person there, and we couldn't see very well, and then he like was pulled away, and you can tell that they're like struggling to describe what happened to the shooter.
oh, so no one was hurt though, like no one was shot.
Oh no, the woman was shot. She ran off.
Oh, she made it.
And we haven't seen the person who was with the hood. We haven't seen them.
Gosh. Wow.
Which way did she go, Jim?
Yeah. So I point, as they were pointing out the whole thing, right? I step back into view of the street, right, and I do the big exaggerated hand motion and like then go back to talking to them, so the team can see where they've gone.
And they
So
kind of
basically
gestured.
a male shot this woman from a rooftop, was it, or something?
On the street.
Oh, on the street,
Point
and
to the
then
car.
yeah, and then something happened to him as he jumped over the. I'm gonna go.
No. He was there, and someone, like an old man, jumped over the hood, and then he was gone. We called the police. They'll figure it out.
Oh. Yeah.
The other thing they'll put to as a 2 and 2 together is they're describing this woman, and she corresponds with the picture of the woman that Peter has looked at.
And then this old man who jumped over a car, and then the shooter and the old man something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Who else is on the street? Any of the other three of you, or are you all in the van?
I'm following the finger direction.
Okay.
But I think probably, given where we are, it makes more sense to be student Henry.
Okay. Absolutely.
And I'm making rapid progress in whatever direction Jimmy has pointed us.
You will move over to the right side of the street. That's the side where someone was shot, and kind of move over onto that. Do you have any kind of criminology or forensics or things that you want to spend here?
I do have criminology, and I think I am prepared to spend that single academic that I have.
You'll look, there's blood splatter here. At a quick glance as you go on, one person shot, high velocity shot, and you can tell that the victim was hit. There's blood splatter there, and then they moved down the block. There's a blood trail for a bit that trails off before it's gone too far.
So there's nothing to follow. Because I'm just wondering if I was to spend one on notice to give me a benefit in observation, would that give me any sign of this woman? Just because I think this is just now.
Yeah.
The police aren't here yet. So this is, central Paris. This would be minutes, not tens of minutes.
Right. Yeah, let's have you make that spend.
Okay, so I'll spend from notice to get +3 to roll observation.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 14.
14. You kind of follow. There's a couple of other drips that you see, and it definitely heads towards and kind of follow it along. And there's an apartment building, and you're fairly certain, based on this, it's been a couple minutes since the shooting, which means you've got maybe a couple minute window for the police. Whoever is slightly ahead of you, and that's the apartment building there.
Is there a concierge or doorman of any kind?
No, it's one of those with the electronic pass. There's no a person on the thing.
So I think I've got a location, but I'll struggle to get in on my own. I suppose I could just ring a bell and hope. I'll ring a bell and hope.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you in just a second. Carl, are you still in the van? Are you moving out? Check the area. What do you think? We've got where the shooter went down hasn't been checked amongst the things that haven't been analyzed, and you've also got a couple minutes before the police come.
So there was some information about the bomb being made, and there was some plan of some laboratory.
Yeah, but that building doesn't seem, Peter's already checked. It's nowhere around this area.
Okay. I'm just wondering, does it make any sense for me to get a bomb sniffing dog and try to search that the bomb isn't here?
I think I can give you that, I mean, just as a quick sniffer and check that there's no bomb on site.
Okay, so so let's just say that Carl just figured out that probably the bomb isn't here. So yeah, after Henry calmed that she cannot get in somewhere, I will probably move into this direction to get into the building.
Okay. You wanted to,
So this is like a high class apartment building with like an electronic lock, yes?
yeah,
Uh,
you want to pop that with mechanics, or do you want to do infiltration?
yeah, I suppose we see Carl just like take like a small stack of those like touch cards, and he just like trying different ones. They are like wide frequency. One of them should work.
Let's have you roll to see how long that takes.
Yes. Do you want me to roll infiltration?
You can spend it from your physical for infiltration, or I'm fine if you want to spend for mechanics for specialist.
That doesn't seem like a mechanic stuff.
Mechanics
So-
covers electronics and other things.
Okay. I will spend one and see how it goes.
Okay.
Again, by the skin of the teeth, it's a 7.
So it'll take a couple tries, but you will get this and pop the door, and you and Henry can slide into the apartment building. Let me check in with Peter, and then let me come back to James, and then we'll go back to the apartment building. Peter, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'll stay outside, sort of in the area of James, while those two have run off in the building. So I'm going to try and look at, where the shooter, struck from. Is there any physical evidence left?
Yeah, you can move over to that area. Do you have any criminology or things you think would be appropriate for kind of reading the physical situation here? I even take notice.
Yeah, I've got notice, but I mean, if there's any sign of injury, I've got medicine, or if there's any sort of sign of explosives, I've got chemistry.
Let me give you the basics, and you can decide what you want to follow up on. You get over to that area, you're kind of keeping an eye. There's more blood splatter over here. And you'll see kind of, quickly bend down. You'll see that there are a couple of shell casings under this car. You do a quick look around. Weirdly, there's some like plant matter kind of scattered weirdly on the blood. But the other thing you notice is you kind of look up and you see that there's some blood splatter up about 10, 12 feet on the building next to this. And you're like,
That's
no
a
idea.
bit too high, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd say that with medicine, you can tell this blood splatters from multiple slower speed wounds. So we're talking knives, claws, that kind of thing. Then you look at that splatter, it actually looks like a smear, like the blood was smeared on that wall.
Okay, we're starting to enter the realms of the supernatural, I feel.
What do you want to spend? Do you want to spend from notice? Do you want to, do you have?
Yeah, I think just notice is the only.
Okay. It looks to you, as you kind of following your eye line, like the building that's next to this is a 2-story building with like a balcony up at the top, maybe and you can see that there's actually a more smear of the blood at the top, like something got dragged over the top.
Okay, I think I'll wait and tell this to James, but that's going to be my destination. But
Okay.
I'll hand over to James.
James, what are you doing?
knowing that the cops are coming soon, I don't want to be around near these tourists and things when it happens.
Mhm.
I am going to that car that the old man jumped over.
Absolutely.
I want to see if it has a dash cam inside, because sometimes those are triggered by the car being bumped or something. They automatically record.
Just spend 1 point from infiltration or mechanics. There's no need for a roll
Okay,
on that, but do that spend and you can pop the lock on this.
cool. I will do that from
It's a,
mechanics, I think.
of course, it's an Audi, nice car. Yeah, it's one of those motion sensor dash cams. You can grab the memory card from that. Do you have surveillance
I do
or
have
data recovery?
surveillance. I
Either
do
one
have
of
surveillance
those.
and data recovery. Yes. I imagine actually accessing the dash cam might wait for me to step out of the way of the off the street kind of thing.
Yeah,
I will probably follow Peter
yeah.
since he's heading into this building to go up to the roof.
Yeah, well, you can kind of look at this as you're moving up there, check it out. Do you want to make that spend?
Yes, I would like to. I will make the spend.
The car is a ways back. You kind of go through, you get all of the usual stuff of traffic driving, and then it comes on, when a car comes close to it while it's parked. And then it comes on and it's clearly, there's that delay for its activation. And you see this woman on the one very far corner of the camera image who's matches that picture. You see her staggering down the street. You can see the Japanese tourists. And then you can see just out of the corner on the right side, maybe a hand with a pistol, like it's just at that far corner. And then this blur goes past the camera. And then you see this foot go up the right side, like it gets lifted in the air. And you're like, it was very hard to see what it was, but it just suddenly, just right over that hood, like a shadow. And then something happened to the shooter.
But it did appear on camera.
Yes, it did.
Okay, interesting. I guess it's probably not easy enough to tell whether that blurring artifact was because of speed or something else, right? But we know that at least that's one superstition off the list, right?
Yeah, if you can get this, back to a lab, spend some more time, you may be able to answer some further questions.
Yeah. Cool. I pat the gun that's underneath my jacket and think, oh, hope it's going to work.
And you follow behind Peter. So Peter and James moving up to that rooftop location. Alan, Carl, you're moving in. Just it's that clean marble floor, so that the pinprick drops of blood show up. You'll move up a set of half steps to sort of the half floor that's up, and you'll move down, and there is an apartment that the door is standing open, not more than a couple inches, but it's open.
Bonjour, madame. Housekeeping.
Don't hear a
And
reply as the
push
two
open
of
the
you.
door.
Okay. Nice apartment. That kind of slightly upscale Parisian place. A quick, I assume, special forces style move and clear there, Carl, checking the apartment.
That depends whether Henry wants to play this housekeeping. If not, yes, it's like a gun with a silencer, just checking all the rooms.
Now, I'm very happy to kind of wave Carl on.
Yeah, so then Carl moves in and checks all the corners, under the beds, wardrobes.
You've successfully infiltrated. You know that there is an apartment manager, so there may be somebody kind of checking. So you know, you've got that kind of as a clock here. But you'll move through. Nice apartment, secure, like good security tech. That's why it took a while for Carl to get in. There are cameras in the halls. So as you've gone in, my assumption is you've worked to keep your face a little bit hidden. It's a multi-room apartment. It has the look of someone who's run in, grabbed their go bag, and is gone.
There any signs of anything that would identify this person? But if they're professional, probably not.
Well, you probably see their diploma on the wall. Essentially, they have a degree in biology from the University of Sorbonne from the late 70s, early 80s. And you can get a name for this woman. Her name is Morgane, Morgane, and her last name, I'm going to get the spelling for, if I can. Lecorre, Lecorre. The apartment is you look around, there's a lot of stuff here. This is a rich environment to go through. But I think you can tell that this person had a go bag. The other place they went besides grabbing that is they went into the bathroom, and they seem to have grabbed some meds from the cabinet. And you can see there's some like a box of gauze that's been thrown off to the side, and there's more blood here. Like clearly they knew enough on how to staunch the wound and moved quickly out of here.
Carl is looking for the signs of how the person moved out from here, through the balcony or just the way they got in.
Yeah, it looks like there is it's just a low balcony out onto a small shared courtyard, an easy drop down. It looks like they came in, grabbed, bathroom, moved through, dropped, and went out, and essentially fled into Paris.
There's more to this woman than a biologist. She was prepped to run.
Do we want to focus on trying to follow her, or are we refocusing on whoever's trying to frame us?
I don't think we're going to find her now. I think we're going to need to spend time and effort to find her or to find out what she does. I'm now more worried about Jimmy and Peter because whatever took out, you know, assuming that what they found they've been describing over the comms, whatever they found, took the shooter. Now, why would be something that we would normally consider to be on the bad side be protecting this woman? I'm very worried about them. So I'm gonna, you know, you be careful, folks, because I think that whatever's up in that building,
Sure.
could be
Do you want
very
me
dangerous.
to here, Henry, to gather some more stuff about this, to gather some more intel about this woman, and do you want me to go there, or should we like stay split at that, or should we rendezvous with the other team?
I think that they may need some physical backup. So I suggest that you get back to them as quickly as possible. I don't think we're going to get anything here. She was prepped to run. I will have a quick look around, but I think you need to head back quickly, and then I need to get out before someone comes to investigate this door.
Sure. Yeah, just be mindful of the door and the cameras, and I will move out myself.
So Carl, you're moving your way back to them, even as we see Peter and James moving up a side set of stairs, kind of gauge from where you saw. It looks like this balcony is like a shared apartment balcony for the building. And simple button locks, like Rook, you touch them and they open.
If I can, I think I actually want to get back to the van and get the drone up in the air to provide surveillance.
Okay.
For the...
So you're heading back to the van.
Yes.
What is your demeanor as you're moving through here, Peter? Rook, are you playing it casual? Do you have guns out? What do we see?
Super casual, I would have thought. Like, blending in, kind of. We're moving with a purpose, but if you didn't know we were moving with a purpose, you would just think we were just moving, right?
Kind of move, touch that, open up that balcony, and immediately you get that coppery smell of blood. And two of you will step out and you will see gouged across in several wounds this body, this figure you saw on that surveillance tape from the airport. They're doing that last like bloody gasp that immediately realize this guy's dying, or I mean he is about to fade. And it looks like he was like somehow dragged up here, rent, and then just left here. And let me check something here. Can I have both of you mark a point of stability?
Sure.
Can we get to him just before he dies and ask him who did this?
I check his pockets.
He kind of looks at you and he says, Orpheus. And then fades.
Did you say Morpheus or Orpheus?
Orpheus. This isn't the Matrix. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Orpheus. You have to get your hands a little bloody here, but you can go through his pockets, Rook.
Mm-hmm.
You can see he's got a Peugeot key fob that you're guessing corresponds with that rental car that's on your account, or rather on Henry's account. You can see that there's a prepaid phone that's there, but otherwise smart enough. He doesn't have any ID or passport or anything on him.
Mm-hmm. I think I was rooting for it while Peter was saying, like, who did this to you? And as I look back up from his thing, I pull out the key fob, pull out the phone, and then I look up and he croaks his last, right? All right. I'm going to see if I can find...
James, very compassionate there.
Yeah, you do get a chill, when you hear that Orpheus here and is standing in the bloody, even though it's the winter daylight of Paris here.
Yeah, then I say, you're right, Peter. Sorry. So long, Carl. You had nowhere near as good a beard as your brother. Now, come on, we got to hoof it before the police come. I'm going to.
Have you ever heard the phrase Orpheus, James?
The one who was sent, who went to save his wife from hell, and she looked back.
I just thought he was a bloke out of the Matrix. I thought it was his dodgy French accent, but clearly not.
You spent too much time on those hacker forums, mate. I'm going to try and find that. We're going to exfiltrate this building, but whatever the thing is I'm going to try and get that Peugeot and drive it away if I can find it.
So you getting the seats, Paul, Peter, what are you doing? Are you doing anything with the body or anything before you move on?
No, we can't really do much with it unless we lob it off the roof.
Okay. So the two of you will go to move out of here. You've got the phone, you've got the key fob, you're moving back onto thing. Carl, you've got the drone, and you want to what do you want to do? Do you want to survey the area? Just follow them? What do you think?
Well, it seems that the trail of clues ends here, so just get the drone in the air and just look around to make sure that there is, I don't know, no sniper on the rooftop, anything else that can show us some points of interest. Otherwise, I'm running clueless right now. So.
Yeah, you do a quick spin around. You'll be able to confirm. Looks like a lone gunman, or if they had backup, they're gone. But it looks to you probably like a lone shooter. Didn't have time to fall back to any of those escape routes that you were able to spot before. I think the drone can pick up like a block and a half away is that rental car that Rook has the key fob for. And you also see the police coming. Keep in mind, there's no bodies. So the police are coming just based on some gunshots. So they are not coming out, in full force. They're arriving to check on the scene, talk to tourists, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I let everyone know that the police is coming. I will probably tell them to use the normal building entrance and drive the van to pick everyone up from the the next street, so that we don't get the ire of the police on us.
So you're at the van. Peter, are you following Rook, or are you heading back to the van?
To the van.
Okay. And Rook, are you going to take this lovely rental car?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna drive it away, and
so there's
hopefully
not a traceable car that's listed to your identities here on the crime scene.
Exactly, yes,
Okay.
and to see if anything was left behind in here, of course.
Absolutely. And Henry, what about you?
I'm going to try something that I'm woefully unprepared for. After
You get this
all the
apartment
success,
with this rich investigative environment, and now you want to bug out?
I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. I suppose that if I was to burn some streetwise,
Mm-hmm.
on the grounds that that's where criminal activity sits, in order to kind of look around the flat and think, where would I hide something that I wanted to come back for?
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one spend, one thing without a spend, and you can decide whether you want to spend more and burn some more time, is I think you'll glance around, lots of art here, some things on the professional background, you're doing a quick sweep of that. But then you'll hear a and you'll drop down and you'll see that there is a phone that's been tossed under the bed.
Retrieve the phone. Do I want to spend anything on this? I'm just not good with technology. So I think I will simply collect it for later. I'm actually more interested in preparedness. I was very impressed last time round the way Carl kept dropping surveillance on everybody. And so I asked Peter if he had any little gadget that maybe if I just, stuck it on the back of one of the cameras that's monitoring this place, Peter might be able to rip the contents of that surveillance camera out at a convenient moment. What I'm thinking of doing is spending 2 from preparedness to give him the edge when it comes to either cleaning Carl and I from the pictures,
Yeah.
or getting a good picture of what went on here. So I'm going to spend 2 for preparedness
Mm-hmm.
and roll +2. A 9.
Right. So you've got it, but it's probably not enough to clean the stuff, but it's enough to be able to read what has happened here. And you can certainly lock this place up. There's no direct line from the attack site to here beyond what you picked up. So you can lock this apartment up and move off and potentially return and take that risk.
I'm going to walk away from where the murder site was,
Okay.
and just tell them where I am. And I would suggest that perhaps Peter, Carl, and the van go one way, James, the car, and I go another way, and then we rendezvous. This may be time for me to tick safe house.
Tell me about this safe house.
I think it would be cool if it is a kind of mirror image of the one that we've investigated, but on the other side of Paris.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more clean, a little bit nicer, but very much that same look to
Yeah.
it. Same setup tables, the same IKEA that's kind of faded with time, and the 4 of you can head back to there. Let's take 5, and then we'll move to any of the other investigative steps off of the physical evidence that you have.
I like the system so far, though.
Yeah, I've been very happy with it because I've run Gumshoe before, and that single D6 roll with the wager and stuff has always felt very unsatisfying when I run it. I know a lot of people love it, and more power to them. And Nice Black Agents has a ton of bells and whistles. This simplifies that down.
I find I was reading through Night's Black Agents last night, and I was just overwhelmed by just how many optional rules and different tests and triggers and things. It's like I love everything that it's simulating, but there's no way I could keep
Yeah.
it straight in my head at all to actually do it, you know?
Yeah, and then if you add in like the double tap source book, like it radically expands the number of options. Now, mind you, most of those are player facing, but there's a lot of player facings. If you're a player, you've got to remember all the cherries that you have and how you can spend and take advantage of the refreshes.
I definitely would feel overwhelmed as a normal player, I think, in Gumshoe. And then as like the GM who kind of you have to know every rule a bit. Like, yeah, I don't know how I could do it. This is cool.
Because there's also, is it 3 or 4 different modes of play from, solid,
Yeah.
depressing Le Carré through to,
Dust, as I think they call it. Oh,
Dust.
yeah.
that's right, via mirrors and all the rest, which then tweak various bits and bobs. Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
variables in that game, but it is the game we all want to play. We want the experience of playing the game.
Concept. I will tell you, there are 2 things. I would watch a Night's Black Agent show, number 1, and I would love like a Night's Black Agents board game where you cooperatively went through and built up the conspiramid, like where some system where it would be randomly generating what that was, that would come through. You'd have an app for it, maybe.
Well, I have to say, playing the first 4 of these, or the prequel to this back in December, set me off tinkering against the Dark Conspiracy again. So I'm running 3 sessions of that next month.
Yeah, I nearly leapt at that, and I thought, you know what? 2 sessions of Night's Black Agents in a week. Maybe I'll not jump into that.
What's his name? Mentioned that you have a like a mechanic where the mental stuff, the sanity, is like a flashback.
Yeah, so you can put yourself in difficult positions in order to unmark stress.
Oh, okay.
The core mechanic is Cthulhu Dark, so you've got 6
yeah.
stress. Yeah, and you need, if it fills, you're gone. But one of the things you can do is talk to a friend or another operator about the history you share. But you roll a dice, and usually there's either fisticuffs or something happens.
Oh, it never goes wholly your way in my experience. I think even on a 6, you end up causing things to go badly on everything, right?
Yeah, on a 6, it goes badly, but it was really worth it. Clear 2 stress.
I don't know if anyone saw it in the Hangouts. I've put my start of an adversary board for this thing in from Made in Miro, where I'm taking the images, and it's like the board that we have and the pin board that we have in our thing.
Ooh, Miro.
I can give you need to have a Miro account to actually like edit it and stuff, but they're free. You only have like a limit on boards.
I'll have to take a look at that. I haven't used it because I've been so lazy about trying to figure out other drawing tools.
It's literally like you can work it out in a second and it just works. You know what I mean? Like everything is obvious.
Love it. Awesome.
So let me talk about what we have as leads and physical evidence. Of course, we have the bomb and bomb materials. We have the map of that building that we still haven't identified. On site, we have the car and whatever's in the car. We also have Morgane, who she is. We also have a physical clue that I forgot to give to follow up from something from the last scene, so I have to retcon on that. We have then the apartment of Morgane, which hasn't been looked into, what her background is. So those are a few things that we have out there as leads. So, Paul, I remember I mentioned the plant material.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing that you would have found with the body, you and James, is you would have found like a section of a branch with leaves on it that clearly matched the leaves that were down, but the end of the branch has been sharpened to a spike.
Does this at all remind me, going back months and months, anything to do with the branch that went through the window screen?
No, very different plant. No,
very different. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Would a vampirology tell me anything about this?
Yes. Do you want to make a spend?
Yeah, sure. That's what it's there for, right?
Yeah.
Can we have just said that we grabbed it and we got out of there? Though,
Absolutely.
Rather than yeah. We're in a empty car park somewhere and whatever, right? I don't think I bring that Peugeot back to the thing, but I'm gonna before we torch it or whatever, I'm definitely going to root through everything in there. But I'll make the spend on the vampirology.
So you will look at this, and the plant itself is like a, I can get the name of this exactly because it is important. So where is that? Basically, it's an oak branch sharpened. And you will know that Molly is sort of the name that the leaves are called on this, and that they're used in certain like wardings off of evil. It's used to trap vampires, like it's a living spike. That's sort of what it is in legend, rather than the kind of a dead wood. You're using a living wood to do something else with that.
It's like a hexy type thing rather than a weapon that you stab through a vampire's heart.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Yeah. He picks it up and flashes back to one of those pages, of those blood-soaked pages, and says, "Well, didn't work very well, did it?" Yeah. Otherwise, I guess. I mean, can I just see what's in if there's anything in the car or not? Otherwise, I can just get rid of it. And
Sure, absolutely. You will find that there are plane tickets.
I can
That
get the GPS. Maybe the car has GPS.
Oh yeah, you can grab that, the black box on that. Plane tickets that go from De Gaulle to Dubai by way of Istanbul, essentially for later today. And there is a Hungarian passport in the name of Michael Zenou, Xenou. And of course, there's the car rental agreement on Henry's credit card.
Cool. I take all of that. I just get rid of the car rental agreement, and I leave the door open in a dodgy part of town.
There's two other things. You'll find another one of these like saplings that's been sharpened. Here clearly like a backup one. And there's also a bag with essentially backup clothing, like clearly to swap clothes here. And they share the odor of that apartment, the chemicals from that.
I throw those. I do not leave those clothes in the car. I throw those clothes at the first homeless person I see.
Okay.
And leave the car in, like I say, in dodgy place, and then get in the van with these guys and drive off to our safe house to regroup, I guess.
So when we hit the safe house, let's walk around. The other I think lead that we have, of course, is the phone that was on Zenou that you found there, Peter. Let's start with Carl. Do you have a sense of what you want to do? You have the GPS. You have these various objects. Is there anything you want to follow up on?
I guess Carl is really worried that the bomb needs to be somewhere, and the bombs usually have clocks on them. The clock might be ticking. So I think Carl isn't very well skilled with this, but he would like to open the GPS and track the history through the city to identify the places the car was in, because even though the guy was trying to frame us, he must have been doing something except framing us. So kind of like a backtrack where he was, what he was doing.
So you have surveillance, so I'm gonna have you make a spend from that.
Yes.
And essentially, we've got multiple laptops, multiple screens here. You're getting that set up. You pull out the GPS information. You're running that. You have some other information. You have the name of this woman. You've got some stuff to kind of cross-check and things. And I imagine that we see several of you moving, and info is getting tossed around, names and things like that.
Mhm.
The
And
telephone.
yeah, and one of the things that you will pop up because somebody says she's some sort of biologist, things, you know, biochemistry, is when you're looking at the route, it doesn't go to it, but it runs past a biotech firm that kind of pings your attention, Carl, because it goes past that area twice. And it's a place called PRX Biogenics.
Does it stop there for some time, or does it only like drive by?
It drives by in that way that says maybe they want the car to be found with the GPS.
Okay.
In the sense that this is another step in locking you in or framing you for something.
Okay, I just toss it on the table for everyone to know.
Okay.
A question mark. That should we like break in and just like make sure that it doesn't explode tonight? I don't know. Because there was some floor plan of some laboratory.
Yes.
Wasn't Mademoiselle Morgaine a graduate from the university? Wonder if she's got any connection to RPX.
You want to run down her history?
Yeah, I'd like to run down a history. I think I would like to
Research, medicine, chemistry, any of those things would be appropriate.
could I use a network to call upon a contact to do this for me?
Absolutely. How much do you want to spend?
What would do the difference? I don't know.
So on a 10 plus, you're able to get someone who knows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
On a 7 to 9, you get somebody who knows a bunch, but it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. I will spend. I'll just spend the one on these ones.
Okay.
You know, just the one.
Live
Keep looking at those,
on the
like,
edge. You guys keep running those 7s.
Yeah,
Keep
it's
getting
the
hip in that edge.
it's the fact that it also covers my shooting as well, which is like I definitely want to have something left in that for when it all goes Pete tongue.
Yeah.
I finally got my first 11, and that was even without the 2 plus, so it's a 13.
What's the name of this contact that you have that works in this kind of area?
It is Marceau.
Okay.
And he is I think he works on the French I think he's a journalist in France, actually. Local correspondent.
So we get that shot of the newsroom. You know, he got the multiple screen. He's working on something. You call. You know, he put the cell phone there, and he's still typing. And he's you know, and again he has a handle for you, but we just says, James, what's it? What can I help you with?
Yeah, he smokes heavily. He's like you know, rumpled shirt and tie, and like
He's Parisian, so he smokes heavily.
Parisian,
I think that's redundant.
yeah.
So.
And I'm saying, oh Marceau, yeah. Listen, can you do me a favor, pal? Got this this woman I need to look up, and I give him the name, and you know, works for the Sorbonne, works or studies at the Sorbonne. I think, yeah.
I interviewed her for the Science Beat about 1.5 years ago. She works. She teaches at one of the Sorbonne campuses, and she's a fairly noted biotech researcher. It does some very interesting things. Some work with restorative biochemistry, some fertilization and in vitro work. Nice. Very sad story about her.
Oh, yeah.
Her husband and her son died a number of years ago, one right after the other. Real tragedy. Very, very highly placed. She has a lot of clearance because she works with some of the government gene banks for genetic testing and tracing and that kind of thing. So she has some access there. That's not the stuff that she talks about much, but she works with a startup from a few years ago. I don't know much about them, what they do, PRX.
All right, PRX. Never heard of them. Interesting. I'll have to take a look. So, husband and son died a few years ago. That is real sad. Is that in the article you wrote, or?
Yeah, hang on. And you see him pull up. Yeah, let's see, the husband died in 2002, and then the following year, the son died. Um, uh, uh,
What were the
oh, that's
causes?
right. The son died. He had a hemophilia that had gone undiagnosed in the family, and ironically, her husband, there was a car crash, and he died of blood loss as well.
Tragic. I mean, stuff if you can't keep your blood in you, isn't it?
That's cold, but yes, that's true.
You know, I'm only joking, Matt. So you know that's how I get through this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice one, pal. You wouldn't happen to know what journal she was published in, would you?
Oh, I can give you some.
Yeah, if you could.
Hang on.
You could
Do you have
message me
a?
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pull up my notes on that, and I'll send you that.
Yeah, we're using Signal, and we've got Tor, dead drops, and things like that. You know, for
Right.
all the kind of stuff.
Yeah. So he'll grab up, essentially a bibliography of her work, an outline from the article, all of that kind of stuff. Peter, what are you looking into?
So I'd like to look in that company. I'm not too sure if we on our board wrote it down right. Is it RPX Biogenic
PRX?
Or PRX? Okay. Yeah. So I'd like to sort of try and find out a bit about them, where they are, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. This feels like research, maybe.
Yeah, I think it does, and I think I do have some. Yes, I do indeed have research. One of the few here. In fact, I think I am the only one with it.
So they are a French registered company, started in 1995. They work in a number of speculative biogenetic things, fertilization treatments, some work with vaccines and inoculations for younger people, or in vitro vaccinations, and some other general work. You have the sense that they've got kind of a hodgepodge of kinds of things they're working on at any one time. It's owned by a Spanish company called Eurydice Investments. And you can confirm that the address of PRX corresponds to the location that Carl got in the La Défense suburb in Northwest Paris. It is registered as a level 4 biosecurity facility.
That's going to be quite hard to infiltrate. Yeah.
Your guess, because they work with the government, they may be working with some dangerous stuff there, but it is definitely tight.
Yeah, I think hard infiltration will be hard there. I think I'm going to look in Henrietta's direction and say, being somebody else, though, may be the easy way in there.
There is a public entrance. There is a car park. I mean, because they do have like marketing staff and PR staff and that kind of thing on site.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to put that in the sort of like top lead sort of places to go list.
And Henry?
I want to know about this phone, but I know that I'm probably not the person to find anything out about this phone.
I can give
If
it
you
a go.
want me to look at the phone, I will.
That would be a good idea, I think.
So just the basics on the phone. Let's go without, essentially without a spend. You'll check that out. You can confirm that passport, oh, sorry, not the passport. I'm sorry. The phone. You'll pull it open, and it has received one text message. Oh, wait, hang on. Which phone? Because you've got two now.
The one that that was buzzing at Morgan's apartment.
Yeah. So you have so just to note now, you've got the phone from the shooter and the phone from the apartment. So we're working right now on the apartment phone. You'll open it up. It is password protected. If you want to make your data recovery spend, you can break that.
I will. I am getting a bit low on these.
Oh, are you?
But yeah, I will do.
I can do some of this. That was why I offered to do it before, because I feel like.
Okay. Oh, do you want to do the shooter's phone? Because in fact, you lifted that.
Okay, we'll split it that way. You do this one, and I'll do the other one. Yeah.
Okay. You will find that there are university emails on here. There are calls to the PRX main switchboard. You will see that there is a text conversation with a Spanish phone number. And you will see that it's clearly text conversation on the run after she was shot. And it says, been shot, lost P, help ASAP, descending to Elysium, suspect Natalie.
And that is a text.
Suspect Natalie is pretty important.
Yeah.
Sorry, was that
that's a text she sends?
She sent.
Very quickly, there is a reply from the Spanish number in all caps. Stay there. Extraction team on the way. Codename Taxus.
Okay. So I think we need to surveil her apartment block. Maybe see this team go in. I don't know.
You will note that she mentioned that she's descending to Elysium.
Yeah. Now that is an area of Paris, isn't it?
Well, there is the Champs-Élysées. James, you want to run that phone?
Yeah. I'm what skill is that then? It says
this would be data recovery.
Yeah. Do I need to do a push on it?
Nope.
No?
Oh, actually, at 1 point spend will get you in and get you some info on this.
Cool. What gets me in? Would it potentially let me have this phone with me in case anyone rings it without it being like a tracer in my pocket? Yeah.
Phone is a prepaid SIM card. You kind of track it to the numbers of the SIM cards that were purchased with Henry's credit card. You'll match that. It receives one text from another French mobile. You can cross-reference that SIM card to another one that was bought, and it just says commence. That's the text that was sent to it. The other thing that you'll notice is that it may take a little more work, but it has a messaging app called Hush Hush. Essentially, it's a Swiss private messaging app that deletes and erases traces of messages about 24 hours after they're sent.
Okay. So was that commence in the Hush Hush app?
No, commence was public. Was
Okay.
o-
Was it
open.
SMS? Yeah.
Yeah, just sent that. But it looks like if you kind of glance at the Hush Hush app, you may have to do some cryptology to get into that. But just at a glance, it looks like there's more conversation buried in there.
And a time and a clock on how long we can access it for as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do not have cryptography. So
Okay. We'll come back to that.
yeah.
Henry, anything you want to do?
Did we got a list of publications, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think that for completeness, I have to cross-reference the authors on those papers with a certain Houllier.
I will give you that they work in very different fields.
Fine, that's all
Yeah,
I need to know.
Yeah. What else do you want to know?
I want to know if, I suppose we've got, I'm hoping that I've given Peter an in to the CCTV in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted yourself scrubbed, but we could use it to watch this Texas team go in.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I think you can get a live feed from that.
And I suppose what's running through my mind really is that we've got Orpheus, Eurydice, Eurydice Finance. We've got Orpheus, who at the minute I'm assuming is the old man. And what Taxis?
Taxis is the code name that which they were told for the extrication team.
And is that TAXIS?
TAXUS.
Taxis, okay. Which all sounds Greek to me.
Ironically. So what we have on the table.
In terms of what I want to do,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't think of anything to do other than follow up on PRX
Okay.
or see what happens with Taxis.
The kebab.
So how about this? Give me a tradecraft spend. Do you have tradecraft that you want to? Can you afford to spend?
Yes,
from
I
that?
do. That's an interesting question. Yes, I can at this point. Yeah.
Then I think that you would have grabbed loose things from the apartment, right? Things that look clear and important. And I think you're going through, the like the letters and other materials that you grabbed up, like a purse, all of that kind of thing. And I think that's the point at which you'll see Morgane's PRX badge fall out of the purse.
Well, that is difficult not to put carefully to one side for next time.
Absolutely. I think we see the like 24 style split screens. I think we see, a team arriving at the airport military style. I think we see the outside of the PRX building, another clock there. And I think we see this woman clearly favoring her shoulder, moving through the Paris streets right now. We've got 3 lines moving and converging, and then a 4th one comes in, and we see what's clearly a police detective woman. She picks up the phone and she's, yes. So it was Henry, you said? And you see she's writing down some notes as if someone is calling and dropping a dime on the 4 of you. And that's what we will take up next time. I will write out the full text of the text message. I will provide a summary of the details. We'll have that I'll get that on the table so that you can work with that. you will get a between session refresh, meaning that you can add one back to one of your investigative. You can add as well 3 back to your general pool. You can drop one of those and refresh one of your talents, but I don't think anybody hit a talent. And we've already established that the one that I do know we hit, the safe house, it lasts for the mission.
So I can refresh and investigate 1 investigation, 3 general, or a talent, and for the cost of 2 general. Is that right?
Essentially, you can decide I'm not going to refresh investigation, or I'm not going to refresh general. Instead, I'll fix a talent.
I see. Yeah. Cool.
A better way to put that is, here are the 3 things you can refresh. You can only choose 2 of them.
I see. I can't choose the same one twice either, I assume.
No.
That's a shame.
So we have, if you need to, emergency, calling your contacts, all of that kind of thing. We've only got a little bit of damage. Both Peter and James took a point of stability. But
Yeah,
I
I think somebody marked my stability down. I was wondering where that had gone.
That's a good way to
I
do
mean,
that.
nice try, Pete.
So this is a heavy session. We got a lot of balls in the air, plates spinning here, but it lays the groundwork. So I'm going to stop the recording.